Hey guys, and welcome to this, the first team breakdown of season 13 of SBL. I'm Draco Ignis 97, or Hayden, as you all know. Today I have with me Stealth, Alex, one
Yo,
of my co-commentators. This is going to be his team breakdown for the Stealth Squadron. So this is going to be interesting because we haven't done this before,
yeah, I know.
but we thought
Um,
it might be an interesting thing to start with.
yeah, so this team, the only mon I really knew I wanted before the draft was Necrozma. I was like 85% sure that Arceus and Zacian were going to go before my pick, and they were the only two other restricteds I wanted more. And they, to be fair, they went, I think, 2 and 3 spots before my pick, so it was pretty close. Pretty
Yeah,
close overall.
it wasn't long.
Although I
Zacian was
was
3 before
drafting,
you, and Arceus was 4.
yeah, and I was drafting for the person above me, so I was never going to pick either of them for DOSA if they were still available. To be
This is
fair,
fair.
so yeah, they were very close to my pick, but I love Necrozma. It's extremely versatile. I like having something that I can run fast, bulky, physical, special. Like really doesn't matter, and it's going to be pretty much broken no matter what. Um, yeah, so wanting to get that behind screens is also pretty important. So on this team, it's pretty much just Azelf and Tapu Fini that are dual screen setters that can get Necrozma behind screens, and it can really just be a pain in the ass to deal with from then on.
Well,
Um,
because Feeney was your 4th pick overall,
yeah,
and
I,
Azelf was your 7th.
yeah, I wasn't really sure with my tier two, which is Azelf's tier. So I kind of just waited on that, and I was like, you know what, I've used this a bit before. It's pretty versatile. It's cool. I like it. But Feeney, I was pretty sure no one was going to take. I don't know why, but I was just pretty sure it wasn't going to get drafted. So I was going to wait, but I was really like rushing at my 4th pick and I didn't know what to take. So I was like, you know what? Let me just take something I know I want so I don't make a mistake and then go from there.
Yeah,
So that's why I picked Feeney.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you've got so you picked your restricted Duskmane with 1. Your second pick was your Mega
Yeah.
because you had the wheel. You didn't have the wheel. You had the just under the wheel. You were
Yeah.
the second to last pick in the draft, and then you would have been the second pick in this next round of the draft. So
Yeah.
you were able to get your restricted and your Mega pretty close together.
Yeah. It was basically the wheel. Um, I was very surprised that Marvin didn't franchise Megalopunny. Because he won
Agreed.
last season. Obviously, he gets the chance to franchise something that he used, and he ends up taking Chino. Um, so I was like, you know what, Laponi and Metachan were the two megas I wanted. They were both still on the board. I had to just take one of them. Unfortunately, the next thing I really wanted, the only other thing I was sure about, was Moltres Scalar, and that got taken by my brother about 2 or 3 picks before mine. I literally told him that I wanted it, and he still took it. And he didn't even really say that he wanted it before the draft either, but he did manage to get like a really good start. I think he got Arceus, and I think he had Aegislash already at that point too, so it kind of fit very well alongside them.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm just glad he's not in our conference because that was a ridiculously good start.
Me too. That he's going to be very good.
How Arceus made it to pick 15 and no one took it, I don't know.
It's kind of ridiculous. And Vanilluxe was the
Considering
first pick.
yeah, Fidelix being pick 1, but considering we had so many mentions and comments about Arceus in the actual
Yeah,
preamble and the chat beforehand,
the dude
and didn't go till
who said
15.
he said he only wanted Arceus, and then he didn't fucking take Arceus. I was like, what? Like, what are
Yeah,
you doing?
I don't know. So
um,
you got stuck with that Eaglarian bird, but you were able to pick up a Cantonian bird.
and I have won a championship with Zapdos before, so I
You
know how
have.
good it can be. I
Yes, you have.
thought when we were doing the tier list, I thought maybe it's probably a lower value tier one, and then I used it in some like mocks before the season, and it's just so good. It's so consistently good, and it's got great synergy with Feeney and Necrozma. It's like a very annoying core to get rid of, very bulky. Um, and then Lopunny's just like that fast attacker that can just pressure you into making switches that would then allow me to get Necrozma in or something like that. Um, So yeah, that's the main core explained.
That's your top four picks. Your next one came through as Drift Blim. Your pick
Yeah,
5 was Drift Blim in tier 3.
yes. I've just always wanted to use Driftblim. Fun fact, Driftblim was on my birthday cake when I was like 6 years old. I think it was my 6th birthday. Had it at Hungry Jack's and Driftblim was on the cake. For
Huh.
whatever reason, I just loved Driftblim.
Why not?
Um, it's still one of my favorite Pokemon, but it's also just very dangerous as like set up, unburden, gets like strength sap, and it can be really annoying. I've seen it used really well in other draft leagues before. So I was like, you know what, I'll give it a shot. Um, I might want to change the Terra types by the end of the season. Fire might be a little bit better than ground. I mean, they both hit steel. Fairy's great for hitting dark as well. But yeah, Drifblim's just like a really cool one that I want to try.
Now, the next one, so your 6th pick was not long after Drift Blim. That was your Piloswine,
Yes.
which is no longer on the team.
No. I made that trade, the first and maybe the only team to team trade this season, with the Swanky Sweepers. He did say he really wanted Piloswine. He wasn't like cut or anything when I drafted it. I don't think he felt like he got sniped, but I did take it, and he took Sneasel. And I was talking with Andrew about. He was like, "Oh, I'm surprised you didn't take a dark type," and then it only clicked to me then that I didn't take one, and I kind of needed a bit more speed. So I think the trade benefited both of us pretty well.
Yeah, I think Sneasel works. You don't need another rocker. Like Necrozma
No,
is a good rocker.
yeah,
And you've got another rocker coming up later.
yes, I do. Another two.
But I think it chaining into something nice and fast is just good for you, in all honesty.
Yeah, I agree.
So then we moved into Azoth was 7, was a pick 7. Pick 8
Yep,
was Tangrowth.
Tangrowth. Yes. So this thing was also very annoying. When I picked it, I kind of forgot that I'd want to reserve Terra for Driftblim. And as great as this is, and if you look at its first four stats, so like HP, attack, defense, and special attack, you'd think it's a legendary because they're all above 100. Um, but then its special defense is 50 and its speed is 50. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, it gets just outsped and smacked by an ice type or smacked by a special fire type or flying or green grass. There's lots of weaknesses and it can't tear out of them. So it's a bit harder to justify. And I may or may not have just made a trade to get rid of it, but we'll talk
Yeah.
about that later.
We do have a bit more to talk about at the end of it. So then you moved into pick 9, one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. The King.
Yeah, yes. Well, originally we both kind of miscounted how many points I had left in the draft,
Yes, we did.
and I thought I had to draft 2 tier 4s, but I actually had a tier 3 and a tier 4 slot. So that made me extremely happy. And I was like, you know what? I don't have a poison type. I already have a ground type in Piloswine, but Nidoking is just very, very good, and I can always trade Piloswine if I need. So I took Nidoking. It can go either way, physical or special. Incredible coverage. A bit slow and not as bulky as I thought it was. Don't know why I thought it was bulky, but it is a bit frail.
Nidoqueen is the bulky one. It's probably what
Yeah,
you were thinking of. Nidoqueen is more bulky, where Nidoking is more offensive.
yeah. But also gets Stealth Rocks and Toxic Spike. So if I want to
And
throw
just
a banner in the
Sheer
works,
Force Life Orb, anything
yeah,
is
Sheer Force
just
Life Orb.
insane.
Yeah, it may be a little bit slow in this format, but again, trades were made and it could benefit it greatly.
And then your final pick, the big engine himself,
Yep.
Colossal.
Can I talk about week 1? Since I'm
Week
not on the
1 will not
recording.
have gone up at this point.
Okay, but I'm not
But
on the recording.
we are recording this after the start of the week 1 matches.
Yes, so Colossal has already made a big impact. Been fantastic. I've seen it in other draft leagues before and it impressed me, but it wasn't like anything super special. But I think in this one, just having something that bulky that gets access to Rapid Spin and rocks and spikes is just very handy. And like if people overlook it because of its typing, but pretty much every time I bring it, it's going to be Terra Fairy or Terra Grass, I think, and
Oh yeah.
it will make it a lot more viable. Again, I might want to swap out Grass for something else just because it's not a great Terra type. Like Water's probably better, although my team is a bit weak to Electric as it is. It's going to be Fairy most weeks. It was Fairy week 1 and just absolutely did the job. I absolutely love that thing already.
Well, with having access to an ability that just lets you go, cool, I get hit with a fire or water move and I'm +6 speed,
Yeah.
is just...
It has
It,
3 great abilities. Like
it's
Flash
nice.
Fire and Flame Body are also very, very good on a defensive set.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's why I went Grass, is because it removes one of the weaknesses of being a Grass type, which is pretty shit in general, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to the end of your drafted team.
Yeah.
So let's have a look at what you... So we've already talked about the trade with Piles 1 and Sneasel.
Yep.
Just before recording today, you did make 3 trades. You've changed the team up dramatically for week 2.
Yes. Look, I was gonna wait a little bit longer in the season to do it, just so I'd play some of the better players. Like I've got you week 2, I've got Swanky Sweepers week 3. And I know I've got some good players coming up very soon. I was gonna play all you guys with this team and then make trades, but the fact that a couple of them were still on the board, it kind of scared me a little bit because I thought that they'd get taken before I get the chance to make my trades. So just went for it now. And I traded Tangrowth, Azelf, and Sneasel out for Weavile, Rabombi, and Delmise. So dramatically changing up the team. I was tossing and turning between Thwacky or Delmise for Sneasel for a long time. Obviously, I was talking to you just before, trying to figure it out. I ended up flipping a coin, landed on tails. So Delmise it was.
I don't think either was a bad option, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I think you would have been fine either way. So this loses one of your screen setters. So you are just with Feeney with your screen setter now.
Although Rabombi does actually get dual screens as well, which is
true.
nice. And fast frail dual screens, so it's basically the exact same as Elf in that sense, which is nice, but I'm probably prioritizing clicking sticky web first with that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then you've basically traded Sneasel out to get its evolved form in Weavile.
Yeah.
Just
yeah,
there's your proper dark type.
Yes. I mean, I'm probably not bringing Sneasel most weeks. I think with the tier 4s, they have to just have a clear, they do 1 or 2 things really well, and they'll have specific matchups where they do stuff. Otherwise, like Sneasel, it's fast and it hits hard, but a lot is fast and hits hard, and I'm probably not bringing Sneasel over like Lopunny any week. You know, if Lopunny already fills that role, or maybe like a Scarf Nidoking that hits a bit harder fulfills that role, then I don't really see the point in bringing Sneasel.
That's fair. Yeah, I don't see. I know what you mean. Tier 4s can be a bit... A lot of them are, there's a lot of them down in tier 4 because not every Pokemon can be absolutely amazing, but there are some of those tier 4s where you just go, oh, this just does everything.
Yeah.
And
It does. Like Delmise is great utility. It's got great coverage, 3 stab types, so it doesn't really need to Terra if it's going offensive. Defensive, I mean, it's there mostly for another spin blocker. Just having 2 ghost types when I have like webs are pretty important to my team now that I have Rabombi. So like having another spin block is really handy, but then it also just has good coverage overall. Can be pretty tanky, especially if I slap some like defensive items on it as well. And yeah, Weavile is just straight upgrade from Sneasel. It's actually way faster than I thought it was. It's like 383 speed at max, which is really nice. Between that and Lopunny, you kind of have to be very worried about my fast physical sweepers, which I think is very good. And then if you're like too invested in the physical sweepers, things like Zapdos and Feeney and Nidoking are going to do more damage to you than you expected. So I think I have a good balance. I think I have like 3 Pokemon that are purely physical with Lopunny, Weavile, and Delmise. 3 that are purely special with Zapdos, Feeny, and Rabombi, and then the other 4 can go either way. Like literally, their physical and special attacks are basically the same, and they can go either way.
Yeah, just
Or
need to
they're
see
both
what you feel
viable.
for the week.
Yeah. So I think just having those options and just being pretty hard to predict is always a good thing.
Yeah,
And yeah,
agreed.
that's my team.
Alrighty, well, thank you for that. Anything else you want to say before we sign off for this one?
Bad luck next week. I hope you lose.
Yeah, cheers. I'll take that. Alrighty, thank you everybody for listening. This is the first of a few. We still don't know how many of these we're doing, but they'll be going up every so often once we get them out.
Yeah.
So tune in for the next one.
All right. See ya.